here's an example of a quote-unquote white man, so-called, and a white woman, to my knowledge. They're not my kind of white. My kind of white, the kind of white that I like anyway, which I like conservative, Christian, decent whites, fair-minded, down-to-earth ones. This guy is a liberal, Jeffrey Epstein. And I disavow both the villain and the victim in this case, this particular victim that I'm about to cover. Evil people are not good at calling out evil, I notice. And I guess that includes, everybody. Most people are evil. I remember there was this Bible story where Jesus was talking about who of you would, if your son asks for a loaf of bread, would give him a rock or a snake or something like that. And he said, you guys being evil know how to give good gifts to your children. How much more your Father knows how to give good gifts to those who are his children. And it was interesting because Jesus was talking to his disciples and he called them evil. Ah, interesting, huh? So his disciples were still evil. They weren't born again yet. They weren't perfect yet, even though he had told them to be perfect. And evil people are really bad at calling out evil. And that's why with this whole #MeToo movement, which I see this as kind of a branch off of, this Epstein thing as a branch off of the Me Too movement. Some parts of the Me Too, they were accurate accusations and some were not. But it's all about attacking men and letting women off for the wrong stuff that they do. And yes, some of these men are guilty. Guilty. White men including, so-called white. But it's unbalanced. They're not good at actually calling out evil because they don't call out all of evil. In the garden, God called out each evil player for their evil. He called out the snake, the serpent. He called out Adam, and he called out Eve, each one for their evil. But that's not happening today with either this Epstein case or the Me Too movement in general or anything. It's basically all attacks on whites, men, Christians, and then letting everybody else slide, which is a disservice to everybody else. And then they're mostly false accusations against whites and men and Christians and stuff. But in this case, this looks like some of these accusations are accurate. So here's some background on this Jeffrey Epstein case that some of you have been begging for me to talk about. I don't know why, but everybody knows what's going on. I mean, I don't really know a lot because I'm not that interested in it. But the Miami Herald reports, and this clip that I just played for you at the beginning, and I'm going to play some more, is from the Miami Herald, which worked with Mike Cernovich and maybe Alan Dershowitz, another lawyer that used to work with Epstein, but now he's accused, and now he wants some of this stuff to be revealed in order to exonerate himself. But how teen runaway Virginia Roberts, now she's married, has a different last name, but she became one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims, reportedly. This is a YouTube video from Miami Herald. Virginia Roberts, and I think it's Giuffre, was working at Mar-a-Lago, and she was a runaway, apparently. They haven't really focused on that part. Mar-a-Lago, that's Trump's place down in Florida, when she was recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell, which was Epstein's ex-girlfriend woman, to be a masseuse to Palm Beach hedge fund manager Jeffrey Epstein. She was groomed for sex with him and his associates, attorney Alan Dershowitz and Prince Andrew, so she claims. And it may be true, it may not be true. Alan Dershowitz affirms that he is innocent and has been perfect in his sex life, meaning he's only had sex with his wife since he's ever met Jeffrey Epstein. So who knows? But anyways, here's some video clips. I want to play some video clips from this woman who's one of the accusers of Jeffrey Epstein and just show you what she's like, what she's saying. And I have some minor criticisms about and towards her. But here it is, part A. She admits that she helped recruit girls after she was recruited and groomed.
All Giuffre cared about was go find me more girls. To me, still to this day, it is my biggest shame that I carry around that I will never get rid of. And I'm really, really sad that I brought other girls my age and even younger into a world that they should have never been introduced to.
It's so white and woman, that guilt thing. But I mean, I'm sure that it is a shameful thing to be recruiting. But I don't know about her being willing to pay the price for participating in that. They want to use her as a victim to get to him, but she's a perpetrator. She was a 19-year-old adult before she escaped. Here's this.
At age 19, Robert said that she was sent to Thailand to take a massage course and to pick up a girl for Epstein. Instead, she fell in love and moved to Australia, where she and her husband live with their 3 children.
I escaped. I called Giuffre to let him know that I was not coming back and I was not bringing the little Thai girl back. And he said, you know what, have a nice life, and hung up the phone.
Crazy. That's nice that she escaped that. Nice that she didn't bring a Thai girl for Epstein. Well, here's another part where she says she was not going to snitch on this guy, which is kind of understandable, but she says that she wasn't going to snitch on him. Here's this.
2007, I was pregnant with my middle son, and I get a phone call from Galen one day. Have you talked to anybody? Have you reported us or anything? And I said, no. The next day, Giuffre calls me, and he asks me the same questions. The next day, I get another phone call. And this time, it's from an FBI agent. Like, hi, I'm blah, blah, blah from the FBI. And I'm like, I don't even know who you are. I am not saying a word to you. And about 6 months later, I get a knock at the door, and it's the Australian Federal Police. It was like a 12-page document about Giuffre Epstein, and I was a victim, and they've identified me as one.
Crazy, huh? So she was just basically in hiding in Australia until she was finally found, because they're hunting down a case for this man. So here's where it gets kind of bad. She says that she will never heal, and I don't like this type of talk, but here it is.
It takes a long time to start the healing process. I mean, I will never heal. There are pieces from me that can never be put back together. It takes so long to get to a point where you're able just to speak about it. I mean, it took me having a daughter and looking at this beautiful, young, innocent baby to say, I want to speak out about it now.
I just don't like that type of thinking. I understand you don't want to snitch on somebody that is that powerful and rich, but this that just screamed victimhood and fakeness to me. So here's a longer clip where she says these guys will get it in the end because us girls are not going to sit here and just let this keep happening, even though she was going to let it keep happening. Go for it.
There are girls out there that will speak up, and I don't care if it's 10 years later or 15 years later, whenever you're ready to do it, you do it, and you protect the ones that are younger than us. You protect the ones that we didn't protect before. These guys will get it in the end, because us girls are not going to sit here and just let this keep happening.
See, I just don't like that stuff where they're talking about guys versus girls. And yeah, in this case, apparently these guys allegedly were victimizing these girls, but she was a grown woman and she started participating in it. And what about this other woman, Ghislaine Maxwell? Is she going to pay for the stuff that she did? To me, I just feel that it's a mess, because it represents, although this guy is guilty, they're not just stopping at him. I mean, this guy apparently is guilty. He did, according to the Miami Herald, he was forced to register as a sex offender for life. So he's guilty of something. What he actually did was, allegedly maybe he was convicted. I don't know. It's so confusing. He appealed to underage girls and maybe did it with them for prostitution and sex trafficking. which was supposedly what she said was that he brought girls and young women to an island that he owned, and brought rich people over there, or big friends, influential friends, to go have sex with the girls or young women. And basically a prostitution thing and exploiting runaways. She was a runaway. I wonder what, I would like to know more of her story and his story, how he got to be like that. Because that's nuts. The judge is like calling him unable to control himself. He's 66 years old, still like this. People are not maturing. So she was just going to let it keep happening, by the way, until she heard from the FBI way over in Australia. And even after she heard from the FBI, she wasn't convinced that it's the FBI, understandable. But it was until she heard from the Australian police that she was not going to say anything to anybody. So she was going to let it keep happening. But now she wants to protect the girls that were not protected. Just kind of typical guilt-ridden stuff. I just don't like it. I don't like that it's so one-sided. Nobody's pointing out what women are doing wrong. And men are so under attack. And it's just pathetic. So people are joining in on the attack on men. They're even attacking Trump, trying to link Trump to this. And Trump is not involved in this. But because he had rubbed shoulders with a fellow billionaire, and actually Bill Clinton was more friends with Epstein than Trump. Epstein, to this day, is a liberal, a Democrat donor, what else? A Harvard guy, Harvard donor, and that's how he was linked up with that Alan Dershowitz guy, who was a Harvard law professor emeritus now. So it's just, I don't feel that we're getting the whole story. I am glad that decent men like Mike Cernovich are going after this stuff. It's nice that that seems to be part of his calling, maybe, where he's exposing these people, how corrupt and evil and nasty they are. But I just hope that we can bring back men and bring back calling out both sides of the evil, all sides of the evil. The devil, the men where the men go wrong, the women where the women go wrong, and all of that. Because right now it's just an attack on men and whites and Christians, like I said. By the way, Men's History Month t-shirts are available. You've seen me wear one of them in the late. But here we have a new design, more legible, more readable, Men's History Month t-shirts. Those are available through, and Men's History Month is August, the month of August. This will be our second annual Men's History Month. Last year, it was instituted by Jesse just the month after White History Month. It is Men's History Month. You can find these by going to jesseleepeterson.com and look for Jesse Lee Peterson Teespring banner. Click on that, and then you'll find them. So, let me get to some calls. And let me know what you think of my take, because I just hadn't seen anybody address that the way that these women are casting it as endless victimhood. She'll never heal. She'll never recover. How does she even know that? That's like crazy. But she was a runaway. That means she was messed up early on and left vulnerable to the evil world by her parents, I guess. Apparently. Anyways, let me know what you think. You can call 888-775-3773. You're welcome, Skip, because Skip wanted me to cover this. Like, as you know, as you can see, I don't have a lot to say about it. Just not that. It's kind of a gross topic. I'm not that into it. I do notice that all these people that are evil are calling out pedophiles. Some evil people are actually defending pedophilia, but they're calling it out as though they're so holy, and they're nothing holy. And I noticed that Christians were calling out homosexuality as a special type of sin, different from their own sins. And that hasn't done any good, because homosexuality has only increased. Even in their own, worlds, their Christian worlds and their families and everything else. And so I just see it coming that there's this self-righteousness about pedophilia. Meanwhile, you're still a sinner yourself. And that's only going to bring more acceptance to it because of the hypocrisy. Because people are evil themselves, pretending that they care about evil. And it's not really caring about evil. It's just an emotional drama thing about children, which you should never victimize children. It's so evil. But you should also become good. That's how you fight evil. Is not by staying evil and pretending that you're self-righteous, attacking evil.
La la la.